In the words, in honor of Keenan, had to give the start into the intro. Welcome back to the TBD podcast. Today it is your hosts Hank and Graham. Without Keenan today, prayers up for Keenan. He's got a pretty terrible headache allegedly. Sorry, Keenan, we love you, bro. But we wanna get in for this episode and talk through, per usual, some hot takes, and then we're gonna get into the state of the NBA, do some predictions, look at some graphics that I've thrown together, and talk about them. So, Hank, you want to kick it off with the hot take for us, brother?
Absolutely. I do. I have two. Again, they're food related, which ends up being most of my hot takes. And I feel like it's an easy thing to create a hot take for obvious reasons. We all have differing tastes and I think differing opinions on those, on foods and drink. So my first one, which, this one's probably just gonna be like, whatever, is I think like hot chicken is super average. I would not place it even in close to my favorite foods or food I would ever want to eat, really. I don't ever think about it. I don't ever want to eat it unless maybe every once in forever. I think, it may sound good to try once and again. And being from Nashville, especially, that's maybe kind of a hot take considering you come to Nashville, especially as a tourist, you probably are going to think hot chicken. And it's like boomed a lot, but it's just something I'm not going to desire much. So that's the first part of this take. And then my second part actually is a little bit hotter, I'd say. And it's that I think ice cream sandwiches, the classic ice cream sandwiches, I think they are pretty average ice cream and maybe even below average. I don't really like them that much. Like I would choose a lot of ice cream over an ice cream sandwich.
Okay.
So there you go.
Let me chime in here. First of all, let's set the record straight, Hank. You're not a guy who loves spicy foods.
Yeah, and that's part of it. And it's a biased take. I'll admit it's a biased hot take. Now, I guess biased is subjective because that's part of the hot take is like I don't like it. It's not like bias. It's just I don't really like it. But that's true.
I'm glad you gave the second one as well because I think you do have to enjoy spicy food to enjoy hot chicken. Now it is a unique flavor too. I'll admit that as well. But being a man who loves Hattie B's, I know you hate it specifically, but being a man who loves Hattie B's, it does hurt me a little bit to hear it. But I do want to shout out our good friend Michael Halverson, who went into Hattie B's, ordered hot chicken, brought him out hot chicken tenders, and he ate them and violently reacted to his hot chicken. And we asked him, whoa, Michael, like we're getting hot chicken, man. And he proceeded to tell us that he thought that hot was referring to the temperature of the chicken itself. So shout out to Michael. Next time he needs to order mild for sure. But you love him.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. All right. That's unbelievable.
As for the ice cream sandwich one, it is hard to hear in the sense of, well, I guess it's not too hard to hear because I just like a lot of different ice cream. And to be fair though, I do actually like a lot of different ice creams more than it. But I am going to be somebody who, if we're talking about in the freezer, there's a box of ice cream sandwiches and maybe some other options as well. I will reach for it. So at the same time, mint chocolate chip. I love mint chocolate chip. I love heading to like an actual nice ice cream place too, and getting something from an actual cream.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll even go as far as say, you might like more better. Of course, it's not the highest tier of quality for ice cream, but I would even say it's not going to be in my top 10 ice creams. Like I would rather have 10 items, 10 ice creams. Can you
say a couple things that you like more, just so I can hear?
I feel like this is going to continue to add the insult, but ice cream in a shop, I'm going to like more. Honestly, a nice like milkshake that is really solid. I'm going to like more. Soft serve ice cream for sure. I'm going to like more.
See, I'm with you so far. I really am.
Okay, that's good. Let me get the mind rolling. Let's see.
Like I would say, can I? So, like, would you take like a fudge bar over?
Yes, and that was going to be my next one. Fudge bar. That would definitely be before it. I think maybe I'm a little nostalgic. I think of things like a push pop. Like I love.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna have to cut you off there. No,
I have a childlike ice cream favoritism.
possibly
But
like a dilly bar from Dairy Queen. Have you had
see, I've
those?
never had one, so I don't know.
Okay.
But
I feel
a
like you would.
Blizzard or McFlurry, I'm gonna like it much more.
Yeah, that stuff is fine. When you tell me push pop and fudge bar is when
I
I
think
start
fudge bar for sure. Now the push pop
oh,
may have been a little too much. The push pop, I would agree, that's a little bit of a goofy take. But I would also say, and this might be one I don't know how you agree with, is I think the drumstick is a bit average. Like I would definitely rather have an ice cream sandwich than a drumstick.
not a big drumstick guy. Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
that's good.
concur on that one. I do like a Klondike chocolate taco.
I've actually never had one, but Klondike bars are their fire. I could definitely go for a Klondike.
Yeah. Also,
They're
frozen Snickers is like the ice cream Snickers.
Yep.
Are cool. Yeah.
Yep. No, absolutely. The frozen candy bars are very good. I
Yeah.
agree.
And also, shout out to Andy's Frozen Custard. You treated us well
Oh,
while
amazing.
we're quarantining for COVID a while back.
That's a top 3 ice cream establishment I've ever enjoyed for sure.
Real good. Well, that was good. I can't say I disagreed too much with it, except for the hot chicken, but it is a hot take nonetheless. We'll see what people have to say. For mine, I've definitely shared this before, not on the channel, but I want to make sure I clarify whenever I release it and share what I'm trying to say. So I think that salsa is better than queso or cheese dip. And specifically, let me go into it. So I'm not talking about it being more versatile. Some people might say it's more versatile. You can put it on more things. You can put it on, I don't know, like an omelet, or you can put it on different sorts of burrito bowls or something like that.
Yeah.
Not the point I'm trying to make. If I have chips in my hand and a bowl of queso out in front of me and a bowl of salsa out in front of me, I'm going for the salsa 7 to 8 times out of 10.
Oh, come on.
And that's the hot take there. I just love salsa, man.
Man, that one is one that we've obviously talked a lot off these episodes about, and that's the one that hurts me most. I would say that's going to be your strongest hot take that you've come with, and probably one that I will forever disagree with. And it's just the case, and it comes down to this, and this is going to be the perfect, it's kind of a mic drop moment. But let's just, what do you get for free when you head to a Mexican restaurant, man? And what do you have to pay for as a luxurious, delicious, golden item? It's going to be the queso, and it's going to be the salsa for free. And I think that's how you got to look at it. And that's how I do look at it in terms of value. But I will say salsa is also delicious. I will definitely sit and enjoy it a lot. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it a lot. It's just the queso it's almost a delicacy, and I think especially a good queso and a good salsa, I just think you can't beat the queso. But really the GOAT combo is having both and being able to pick and choose different bites. Oh man,
That's true.
Oh,
That's true. I also love me a triple dipper. Throw me in a nice gourmet guac in there.
oh man, don't get me into that. Don't get me into that.
At the end of the day, man, Mexican food is a great
Agreed.
culinary just masterpiece in my opinion. So
I definitely agree. Yeah, that one, I don't agree with. I'm not sure how many people I do, but salsa is good. But to say it's better, that one hurts a little bit. Just, yeah, it just hurts.
Not backing off though. I am who I am.
I understand.
But
I loved it.
Yeah,
thank you for that.
That's it. And real quick shout out before we get into our NBA talk. This is not actually Ellie. That would be really horrifying because she'd be about as big as me. But Marin and I we're fostering this cute half possibly chocolate lab, half boxer puppy from the Humane Society. Was quite an experience. She kept us up a lot late at night. She would pee and poop a lot before I went to school. 5 or 6 times before. So she was definitely a troublemaker. She chewed through some cords as well, but at the end of the day, she had our heart. So this is a tribute to you, Ellie. I hope that we hear that you get adopted soon. We love her. But man, all right. Well, let's talk about it, man.
Yeah, man. Let's freaking do it.
1 week ago, Thursday, February 9th, the NBA trade deadline occurred, and we had genuinely probably the craziest trade deadline in the history of the NBA. I don't really think many people would agree or disagree. Sorry.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I think there are always a bunch of deals that happen at the deadline, obviously. Players are getting shipped out. A lot of times it's for contract reasons, like with money, picks, man, teams just trying to rebuild. But dude, this year, I think we saw some of the highest caliber trades, like it in a short period of time, maybe that we ever have. And I think that kind of goes to show the state of a lot of pro sports today with the super teams being built and kind of, how that goes and rebuilding and all. But the amount of high like value deals that happened were pretty nuts. And the amount of picks that were being thrown in some of these deals just kind of wild. And yeah, no, I agree. It was an incredible one that I think we'll talk about for a while. And these are the deals that shape how the next 5 to 10 years go for certain organizations. So it's going to be unique to see. I mean, some of these will not be successful, and we'll continue to see that as the years go on, especially when teams are dishing out players and picks for single one or two players. I think that can really backfire in certain scenarios.
Oh, 100%.
So it's exciting.
And I think the most noteworthy stat to think about, shout out to a YouTuber who I like to watch by the name of Sporting Logically. Hit him up on YouTube. He made the comment that the Kevin Durant trade, although Brooklyn may have felt like they needed to make it happen, maybe they were in some ways felt like their backs were against the wall and a deal needed to be made following the Kyrie Irving deal. The Kevin Durant trade for Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and Cam Johnson, and was it 1 or 2 first-round picks?
4.
Was it 4?
It's 4. I'm looking at it.
4 firsts. Okay, that's fair. 4 firsts. Let's keep this in mind. That's a big deal. That's a big trade. However, let's not forget this past offseason, Rudy Gobert traded for Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt. I feel like there might have been another name in there, and 5 first-round picks.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
That's one of those ones where it's kind of a little bit of a head scratcher, because if you're getting a deal like that, and then you see this KD deal, which in my eyes is you're getting a little bit less value, albeit it's not too much less, but a little bit less value. It just makes the Gobert trade seem like possibly one. I mean, it probably is one of the worst trades of all time, considering how it hasn't really.
Oh, absolutely! It's an unbelievable. That was an unbelievable trade. I mean, that's just like there's just nothing you can even say about it. That trade was ridiculous for a guy like Gobert, who did possibly start the spread of COVID in the NBA, touching all the mics after kind of the accusations that night. And the NBA actually was, I believe, canceled that night for the season. So kind of falls on his shoulders, in my opinion. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that one was wild, and especially for where Minnesota is like currently. I mean, that one scares you as a Minnesota fan.
So that not looking good, and on top of that, to add insult to injury, I know they might have felt like a similar situation to Brooklyn, backs against the wall, going ahead and trading D'Angelo Russell away.
Yeah.
Also trading. Well, they had already traded them. So, okay, trading D'Lo, though. Trading D'Lo away. And bringing in Mike Conley, who I like, but it's just a unique deal. We'll say
it's a unique deal. Also, in that scenario you just said, if Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt were traded from the Jazz to the Timberwolves last year, are they kind of a package deal? They're both heading to the Lakers as well.
So sorry, they were traded from the T-Wolves to the Jazz.
Okay.
So Jared Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley went to the Jazz in exchange for Rudy Gobert.
So they actually still are a package deal in all their deals, though. So they're going both. They're going heading to the Lakers.
So the Lakers really benefited from the trade, getting 3 players: Blake Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, and D'Angelo Russell. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves very perplexingly are adding Mike Conley. Once again, it's an interesting one. I love Mike Conley. I really do. I love the Grizzlies. I'm a Grizzlies fan. And then the Jazz, in turn, are just adding Russell Westbrook's contract and buying him out as they as they head into a rebuild, which is fine for them.
Yeah. Well, that, it makes you wonder what are the T-Wolves thinking, because especially after the trade for Gobert this offseason, like, I mean, you would kind of think they're going all out. It's like you've already committed to it. You got to keep going at least for I would say at least a 2-year period. You have to keep going all out until you say, okay, we give up and we're going to rebuild. And they obviously are still going. They're not. What does this trade really say? Are they still going for it? I don't even really know, because they received 3 second-round picks in that deal. And anytime you get picks as a team that's not rebuilding, it kind of makes you feel like you're trying to save up for the future years, when the way that they traded for Gobert does not make them seem like at that point that they cared much about the long-term future they were looking to win in the next few. So that is a weird one, especially Mike Conley.
And like you said, I do think that you got to kind of wonder what is the management, from a management standpoint, what's going on. Their general manager, his name is Tim Connolly. He was previously the general manager for the Washington Wizards, then the New Orleans Hornets. Well, sorry, not the GM, but was on their staffs, Wizard staffs, Hornet staffs, and then was at the was a general manager for the Denver Nuggets. And really, the best thing that could have been said about what he did there, and in terms of bringing in players, was to bring in Jokic, who, great job, but was a second-round pick. Like, it's not like they really knew he was going to turn into an MVP.
Yeah.
It was a complete under the radar guy. That's one of his biggest resume points. Other than that, he brought over Aaron Gordon, JaVale McGee. I mean, these guys aren't bad. They're good players, but I mean, he's drafting guys like Emmanuel Mudiay. I mean, these are guys that don't really play. So he heads over to Minnesota and possibly does one of the worst jobs as a general manager in the history of NBA. I mean, you could argue it. I think they were really set up for success had they not done the Gobert trade.
I mean, they literally, before the trade, they were in the playoffs and they had a decent series against the Grizzlies. Yeah, a good decent series against the Grizzlies. I mean, it's pretty nuts. And now I'm about to check how many picks they have over the next few years. I can't imagine it's many, but yeah, it makes you wonder, man.
And you know who does have a lot of picks? The Utah Jazz.
Yeah, they definitely do. I'll tell you that much.
And the surplus.
They. I don't. I'm kind of looking at it. I don't.
Yeah. Slim pickings.
Their team. They their last year I actually can't remember who they traded him for, but they traded Jake LaRavia to Memphis or someone.
Yeah. Well, it was for slow-mo, Kyle Anderson.
Okay. Good point. Well, I don't know if that's been helping him much, but I think they're still okay for the future. They have Anthony Edwards, obviously, and they have Cat and they have Gobert. But I
gotta say, the one player I do love out of that batch is specifically Anthony Edwards. I love him. Yeah. How could he not? He's literally played an absolute game for them, and he's just he's a gamer. I mean, you can talk about video games, football, but specifically basketball. He's a gamer in all connotations of the word. But that's their glimmer of hope at this point. Is Anthony Edwards becomes an all NBA, all first team player, and he could.
Yeah, you gotta hope he continues to shine. Absolutely. Yeah, it's it's unique, and I guess we'll continue to see. But no, the trade deadline was absolutely nuts though. Like,
but yes,
with the obvious KD trade. I mean, look, man, that's a big send. I mean, KD is a wonderful player. He's actually one of my favorites, even though he's absolutely one of the most hated players in the NBA. But I would say that that's a pretty scary deal as a Suns big time supporter. I mean, KD is good. Absolutely, he's good. He's great.
He's great. He's
great. Not good.
He's all NBA player. Yeah.
He's an amazing player. But how many years would you say he has legitimately left in the NBA? Good years.
I mean, I guess that's what, I mean, arguably it shouldn't be the timeline, but I think that's what Phoenix has done when they bring in the new owner, Matt Ishbia, and they say, you know what, we're going to make the timeline now.
Yeah.
So we're trying to win a title within the next 2 years, probably now or the next year, or else we just don't know that we really can. But with that, but like to answer your question more directly, 3 to 4 years, I would say he has in the tank. And so I guess their thought is, let's win it this year, or if not this year, let's win it next year. And maybe we can justify trading away Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and also Jay Crowder, who has pulled a Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, and decided to just completely sit out the entire season. So I have absolutely no respect for specifically those. I do cut Kawhi a little slack just because I know there's some murky waters, and maybe Ben even a little bit of slack because there's some murky waters, but specifically Jay Crowder, Kyrie Irving, and Andre Iguodala when you were on the Grizzlies. I have no respect for you three guys for not showing up to work and doing the job that you set out to do.
I did not realize Jay Crowder was sitting out. He was sitting out from the Suns this season?
Just didn't play. He was completely healthy.
Okay, that is weird. I would like to read more into that. I do know that I agree. The Andre Iguodala, it reminded me a little bit of, though, the RJ Barrett, and I'll never forget it, is when RJ Barrett says, "I'm not heading to the Grizzlies." And, Graham, we talked about it, and we said, we happily do not want you here. And we were very thankful that we went ahead and drafted Ja ahead of him.
Well, it was no problem. It was
actually no problem.
We had the number 2 pick.
We have the number 2. RJ,
we couldn't
honestly, buddy, we didn't want you, so you're good.
We couldn't get Zion, and we saw our 2 main options were going to be Ja and RJ, and it wasn't really a toss-up for us. We were wanting to go Ja. And so we got an all-star caliber player. RJ, not an all-star. So
RJ, he's on the Knicks. We'll say that much. And it,
he's not the best player, and he's not the second best player either. Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, both better.
That's true. I will say, does it play into the point that the Suns, especially with a few injuries, could run into depth issues trading away all those guys? I think it is I think the answer is going to be pretty obviously yes. I'm going to go ahead and read their roster currently. You got DeAndre Ayton, Darius Bazley, Bismack Biyombo, Devin Booker.
Yeah, really good.
Torrey Craig.
He's all right.
KD.
Amazing.
Jock Landale.
Yeah, he's an Australian player. Yeah.
Damian Lee.
Okay. All right.
Saban Lee, who played at Vandy.
The Vanderbilt player. Yeah.
Vandy. Josh Okogie from Georgia Tech.
Okay.
Chris Paul, the GOAT / miserable player. Cam Payne. Landry Shamet.
I do.
Ish Wainwright.
Okay, he's not very good.
And TJ Warren. So that is their current roster.
The starting lineup is good.
Absolutely.
Devin Booker, TJ Warren, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah. And it's amazing. It's actually an amazing starting lineup.
Probably one of the best I've ever heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it's like.
Then you get your sixth man of the year, Darius Bazley, coming off the bench.
Is he the 6th guy? Is he?
No. I made that. I think
he actually probably will have some rotational minutes. I've actually watched him before. I think he played for the OKC Thunder a while ago.
Okay. I was mainly kidding.
Probably going to be also Torrey Craig minutes, some Landry Shamet minutes.
Let me look at their most recent game. Let's see who got some minutes. I was kind of kidding because his name to me sounds a little funny, Darius Bazley, but kind of it sounds let's look. Okay. So as wild as it is to say, it looks like the 6th man currently is going to be Damian Lee from Vandy.
Is it TJ Warren? I'm looking at it. Not seeing a lot of TJ Warren minutes. Maybe he's hurt or something.
TJ Warren, he got about 7 minutes.
Okogie and Craig.
Okogie running with easily the most minutes in the game, with 39 minutes played.
They beat the Kings full strength.
He played pretty good. Gotta give Okogie and Torrey Craig more credit.
Well, I think we gotta think about Devin Booker is also nasty. I mean, you're looking at KD and Devin Booker in and of themselves is a ridiculous 1-2 punch.
Absolutely, and then you add in Chris Paul, who's he's for sure a top 5 point guard of all time, I would say. And then Ayton, who I don't know how good he is.
Is a really good player.
Okay. So yeah, you're looking at a great team.
You are. So I would say I think they are definitely the team that jumps up the most off the eye test, and I'll mention this team really quickly. There's 2 other teams that I think are specifically looking at trying to get some serious improvements from trades, the main one is going to be Dallas, who, in my eyes, you kind of talked about the risk for Phoenix. Easily more risk there involved with Dallas, adding the most volatile, the most risky player on the planet of the earth, the man who daily,
no doubt,
when I look at him, I try to be nice, but I can't really handle him. Kyrie Irving. I mean, he's a great player.
No, you have a great point. That one is a scary one because that man, he's one of the most what's the word? Bipolar players in the NBA. A guy that will love the team one year and hate him the next.
Yeah.
I mean, trading for a guy like that in and of itself is a little bit scary. And then, with a trade, you're obviously having to give up items. And in this case, giving up for sure one player that I know is good, Spencer Dinwiddie.
Oh, great player.
And
second
then
best player on the team. Yeah.
And giving up a first round and 2 second-round picks, as well as Dorian Finney-Smith.
I mean, this is the issue with Dallas. So they lose Jalen Brunson last year in free agency. At that point, he was the second best player on the team. They bring in Christian Wood, who they refused to play for whatever reason. You could argue that him and Spencer Dinwiddie, one of them is the second best player, but according to minutes and the production that he actually produced, the production that actually comes out of his output, Dinwiddie's better than Christian Wood. So you go ahead and ship off Dinwiddie. You go ahead and ship off Dorian Finney-Smith, who is your best perimeter defender, probably one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, good three-point shooter. And then you lose the picks as well, and so you're left with this shell of a roster with Kyrie Irving, admittedly, but at what cost?
Unfortunately, I also don't know if it kind of begins to add to your issues the fact that, I mean. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but Luka plays point guard when he's on the floor. Like, obviously it will change, but
his usage rate is insanely high. Yeah, he's basically a point guard.
I mean, that is going to inherently create huge problems, especially a player like Luka, who I could see. I mean, he has gotten so used to amazing shot creation off the dribble. I mean, he's just going to dribble all over you and just shoot. He doesn't care. He's not a catch and shoot guy. I mean, that's not his main role.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, I'm not sure that could backfire big time, I think.
Yeah.
But
so that's tough. That's tough. And then I think the last team that you're looking at to just maybe have a glimmer of hope to at least even make the play-in at this point is the Lakers. I mean, they get D'Angelo Russell, they get both players of Jared Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley. So they're definitely going to be better. Sad to see Russ go and sad to see him, maybe he gets a better role, obviously Russ being one of your favorite players in the past and being one of the most dominant players ever at some point, you have to admit.
Yeah. He's a player that I do love Russ. Unfortunately, he's kind of been getting clowned on the past few years. I think for good reason. He's kind of bad, but I'm honestly happy to see him out of there. I think he just won't get hated on as much.
I think it's looking like he could be heading to the Clippers though, which would be interesting. As they release John Wall and add Russell Westbrook, so from one washed up point guard to the next. But with all due respect, I actually have really enjoyed seeing Russ mature and just the interviews that he's had, and I've seen a lot of flashes from him in terms of who he is. He's a great guy.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. Yeah, LeBron got in the GM's office. He put his suit on and he got to work over the deadline. So it was good to see them make some deals. And I guess that gets into what do we think is going to happen the rest of the season, the rest of the course.
Yeah.
Graham, do you possibly want to pull up some things for us?
I'm gonna pull up my first image, and then if we have to start up the next video, we can. I'm gonna pull up this first image here. Just avert your eyes from what you see at the very beginning. Okay. All right. So we got about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna show this tier list here. The confidence level I have in it is not immense because considering I put it together in about 5 minutes, but I will break it down here and show you what I'm looking at. So we've got a few tiers, or several tiers rather. We've got title contender tier. We've got conference finals contender tier. So a team that I could see getting to the conference finals, don't really see them getting past it. Playoff team, specifically with that, a team that I think is a playoff team that can actually win a playoff series, could win it. Not sure I'm confident that they will, but could win it. And then you got play-in team category. These are teams that can make the play-in. Maybe they win their play-in game, but just I don't see them winning a playoff series whatsoever. And then you got the next tier. They're not bad. They actually are maybe a piece away from getting to the playoffs or getting to the play-in rather. But some of these teams are on the up and up. Some of these teams are in rebuild tank mode. And then you've got that final tier there, which is the bad tier. They definitely desperately need a guy like Victor Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson and just some other pieces to bolster their roster because they are bottom dwellers in this league.
Yeah.
If they were in a soccer league, they would be on the verge of relegation. So with that being said, we'll walk it through here really fast. So title contending teams that I see right now, obviously the Celtics went in as the odds-on favorite. Milwaukee Bucks healthy. I still think they could have made the finals last year if healthy, could have beaten the Bucks in a series. And then going to go ahead and throw in the Phoenix Suns and the Nuggets as my Western Conference teams. My confidence in the Nuggets isn't that high, but I just feel like at some point they've got to break through. They've been a high enough seed. They're so talented. They've got the MVP probably on the roster. They just have these pieces. Next up, we have Philly, Memphis, Dallas, Golden State. Golden State's such an anomaly. I just couldn't bear not to put them in this tier just because of the talent that I know they can have. And then this one is sad. I just don't see it in terms of actually running it to the finals. I could see it being down to the conference finals, which would be a step up. Just don't see that. And then Dallas and Philly, same deal. I don't see them making the finals, but I do see them making the conference finals. Next year, you can see it. Cleveland, Sacramento, New Orleans, Miami, Knicks, Brooklyn, Clippers. Those are just all teams that are solid. Maybe they win a playoff series. The teams that I actually have confidence to win a playoff series in this one, pretty much just like the Cavs. And I guess the Heat, maybe. Not really seeing those Western teams do that well. Those play-in teams, I feel pretty confident about those teams remaining a play-in team. Washington, LA Lakers, Toronto Raptors, Atlanta Hawks, Timberwolves. The only team that has upside of possibly winning a play-in series, but I don't think they could, or playoff series, would be Timberwolves and maybe Lakers. I just don't really see them seeing it happen. And then outside looking in, Thunder, Magic, Jazz, Pacers, Bulls, Blazers. Those first four teams that you see are teams that are on the up and up. I could see them making a playoff series next year. Bulls in Portland, and not in a good boat. They've got all these veteran contracts on their roster, and it just doesn't work. Especially the Bulls. They're just in bad waters. And then you got the bottom four. They're just tanking. You can look at their records. They're not trying to do anything. They're just trying to get drafted. Although I would say the Houston Rockets and Pistons have a lot of upside for the future. Maybe the Spurs too. I am nervous about the Hornets being bottom dwellers and not really having a lot of bright spots other than LaMelo. So you can tell me what you agree with and agree with though.
Yeah, no, that's a great list. I enjoy it. I enjoyed your commentary there. I think that for the most part, I agree. There are a few spots that I would immediately disagree with. I think for one, I think I would say the Nets are going to drop down to the play-in team category. I just think that they very obviously are trying to at this point rebuild. They kind of a forced rebuild, but that's how I see it at least. And then I would say the Lakers I don't think they make the playoffs even as a play-in team. I just don't think they get the job done. They've disappointed.
So you don't think they even get to 10?
No, they don't even get to 10, I don't think. I think it'll be close though. But man, they've already disappointed enough this season. And I don't see it happening.
I agree with you in terms of the Nets for sure.
I just think the Lakers, I mean, I don't care how much heart they have. At some point you just gotta win. And I just don't think they're good enough. We'll see though. I could be proven wrong absolutely on that. And then there was one other that I kind of disagree. I'm trying to think. It might be the Mavs, I would say. I don't think the Mavs are a conference finals contender, even with Kyrie. Right now, I mean, they're a play-in team. So it's like, obviously they're going to have more consistency, I think, with Kyrie getting added, but man, I just don't know. I just don't know about them. They scare me a bit. I think they will. They'll do fine in the playoffs. I think they have the chance to get a playoff win. But I would be shocked if I saw them in the conference finals for some reason. That's just my immediate gut reaction.
So
Yeah.
you talked about 3 teams you would bring down. I already moved the Nets down because I do kind of agree with you. You would move Lakers down 1 and Mavs down 1. Is there any team that you see on the board that you would potentially move up, or is that probably not? I mean, at that point, if you're moving the Lakers down, maybe you move one of these teams up to the play-in. I don't know.
I would say the Thunder. I think the Thunder are pretty good. I think SGA is a dog. And I also I don't know. I think out of that line, it would definitely be the Thunder for me. And I have them currently making the play-in, so I would say the Thunder for sure. And then if I had to pick one that I think would be a conference contender, conference finals contender, it would. I don't know. I think it would probably be the Cavs. I think they have a really solid lineup.
Yeah.
And they're strong. They're a stronger overall team than a lot of the others.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too. In all honesty, we'll look at predictions in a second, but I do think they're really good. I don't see them in the conference finals. And realistically, this top row is who I think will make the conference finals, considering that they're title contenders.
I would actually agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough thing because I mean, at the end of the day, there won't even be that many teams in the conference finals. So it's like, that's just part of it. Who do we think could kind of be there? If I had to pick another team, and I'm not the most versed on NBA, but I would probably say the Clippers. I still think they're solid. So
the interesting thing would be if somehow Sacramento can hold on to the 3, that means that this can't happen. Denver and Phoenix can't actually see each other if they're for instance, and I think Denver's definitely going to get the 1 seed, but if they're the 1 and Phoenix is the 4 somehow, which again I think Phoenix gets up to the 3, and we'll look at this in a second, but that happens, then one of these teams has to be the only team that makes the finals, and at that point, I think if Memphis can get the right matchups, I could see them getting there. It's got to be the right matchups though. I don't think if they have to play Phoenix in round 2, I just don't know. We'll talk about it in a second, and then I think Denver, man, at the 1 seed is got to be feeling pretty good about making the conference finals. I think,
dude, I would agree. That's the team I would take to the bank is going to be in the conference finals. They're good, and they just have the Joker, and he's ridiculous. I mean, not many players in NBA history like him. I would just kind of say to most NBA fans that are casuals or don't have any idea that the Joker is kind of funny, and that's how I feel about him a little bit. Like, it's just like, what? Cannot believe he's doing these things.
Yeah.
And his value to that team is ridiculous. I mean,
yeah. And
ridiculous.
The great thing is that they're an underrated 1 seed.
Yeah,
they are.
And that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing for them. Being underrated, especially from a mindset perspective for a lot of these teams, I probably can go a long way versus being a big favorite and getting your head real inflated,
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll be back for a quick preview of the playoffs and our final standings and looking at that. But hope you've enjoyed this.
Absolutely.
We sure have. And
All right. Sounds good.
Get over here.